The Four Noble Truths are the most basic expression of the Buddha's teaching. They are called noble because they are the truth of the way things are, not just a personal opinion. The first truth is that life is suffering. The second truth is that the cause of suffering is craving. The third truth is that suffering can be ended. The fourth truth is that the way to end suffering is by following the Eightfold Path. The Four Noble Truths are not a philosophical or religious system. They are a practical guide to understanding and ending suffering. The Buddha did not invent the Four Noble Truths. He discovered them by looking deeply into the nature of life and human experience. The first noble truth is that life is suffering. This does not mean that life is all pain and no pleasure. It means that even when things are going well, there is always the potential for pain and suffering. Birth, old age, sickness, and death are all part of life and cause suffering. So are the many other problems we face in life, such as not getting what we want, losing what we have, or being separated from the people and things we love. The second noble truth is that the cause of suffering is craving. We suffer because we crave things that are impermanent and subject to change, such as wealth, power, and fame. We also suffer because we crave things that are not good for us, such as cigarettes or drugs. And we suffer because we crave things that are not really existent, such as an imaginary perfect partner or an afterlife. The third noble truth is that suffering can be ended. This is good news. The Buddha's teaching is not a pessimistic view that life is all suffering with no hope of relief. The Buddha shows us that there is a way out of suffering. The fourth noble truth is that the way to end suffering is by following the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path is a practical guide to living a life that will end suffering. It includes the following steps: 1. Right understanding, understanding the Four Noble Truths. 2. Right thought, having thoughts that are kind, wise, and helpful, instead of harmful, unwise, and confused. 3. Right speech, speaking truthfully, kindly, and helpful words, instead of lying, harsh, or hurtful words. 4. Right action, acting in ways that are kind, helpful, and respectful, instead of cruel, violent, or harmful. 5. Right livelihood, earning a living in a way that does not cause suffering, such as working in a job that does not harm people or the environment. 6. Right effort, making a sincere effort to end suffering and follow the Eightfold Path. 7. Right mindfulness, being aware of our thoughts, words, and act. So that we can make wise choices. 8. Right concentration, training the mind to focus on what is helpful and positive, instead of being pulled away by what is harmful and negative. The Eightfold Path is not a rigid set of rules. It is a flexible guide that can be followed in many different ways, depending on our individual circumstances. The Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path are the foundation of the Buddha's teaching. By understanding and following these principles, we can end our suffering and find true happiness.